should be live. Let's just double check the feed. Hope everyone's doing good tonight. Yep, it should be working now. Okay. Just gonna wait a couple, maybe 1 to 2 minutes, and give some people some chances to come in. See if we can share this. And yep, that's working. Okay. If you hear any sounds in the background, I apologize. It's probably my cats. Well, it is a beautiful bacon day, Cookie Crusaders. Let's get into PvP. Let's run some fights. We're gonna try every comp team that I can find in other guides, other setups, anything that I've personally come across. We're just gonna try them all. We're gonna see what our results are, what we get. So, you are first. Hello, Epic Nerd. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Okay, so let's go ahead and the current team that I've been using in Arena has been Dark Cacao, Strawberry Crepe, Sea Fairy, Frost Queen, and Cotton. Now, the reason this team is Frost Queen gives a lot of powerful hits to the enemy team, and of course it slows their skills down and stops them during the freeze. The Sea Fairy option, high DPS damaging unit, the stun against the enemy team, and overall a really good target for the feather if she goes down first. Palos, you are second, welcome. Strawberry Crepe is there for damage resistance, just to give the team the chance to hopefully survive. And Dark Cacao, obviously with the debuffs and the lowered healing, makes it so that if they do have healers on their team, it's less likely for them to be taking the overall chances at winning the game. I'm just going to go ahead and do this real quick to see if we can get sound back in the game. The recorder through OBS Studio has been really back and forth recently as far as getting sound going. So I'm going to try just a couple quick things. And I don't know if they're going to work. And I apologize for that. I've been fighting this recording software just to get that sound continuously captured. It seems to never want to work properly. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And then last but not least, Cotton is there for obviously healing, attack buffs, and just a few extra bodies on the field to provide assistance against the enemy team. For this comp, we're going to be running the scroll, the feather, and the clock. The scroll is for the damage increase, the feather for that heal so that we can bring back our first enemy or teammate to die. Usually it's going to be Cacao or Sea Fairy. Sometimes it's Frost Queen. If it's Frost Queen, it's really helpful because we get that secondary freeze right away. So that's super helpful. But usually it's Frost Queen or Dark Cacao. And then we're going to go ahead and fight this team, which is the last season meta, where it's double tank, Eclair, Frost Queen, and Cotton. And we're going to see how we do against that. So, the double tank on their side should be able to divert pretty good amount of damage, but as you can see, they hit pretty hard taking Frost Queen and Sea Fairy. Sea Fairy was the first one to get that feather, and because Sea Fairy got that feather, another hit went off and just plowed right through their team. and we were able to take that pretty well. Let's see the results and see what happened there. So yeah, Seaferry took 1.6 million out of their team. Eclair was the high winner on their side. Now technically we could put Eclair in Dark Cacao spot, but the reason Dark Cacao is so helpful in this comp is because Eclair on their side would have given them shields with Frost Queen and Seaferry being taken down. And if I didn't have Dark Cacao, that means they would have had a full shielded team, giving them time enough to get another maybe one skill off and eating through at my team. And I'll actually show you the difference there. So let's put a Claire on this team real quick and just show you the differences. It may still do good, but that shield destruction is really helpful. So we're going to go ahead and do a Claire here instead, not Dark Cacao. And of course we'll have our hits too, but we didn't take anyone out, so we did not get the shield at first, we did after, and then our feathers already been used. We've lost Seaferry. Now we're just down to our 4. They've got the upper advantage, and our team's just ripped through, completely demolished. So in this instance, Dark Cacao was super helpful taking out their shields, because as you could see, their whole team got a chance to do even more damage. It wasn't Eclair as the king this time because Frost Queen was alive a lot longer on this side. So that's what happened there. Epic Nerd said, so instead of Seaferry, what other cookie can you add? Would Eclair be a good replacement? Yes, Eclair could be a good replacement. So let's put Dark Cacao instead of Seaferry, and we'll do that team instead. And I'll show you what happens. So Eclair will still be good for shields, still be great for damage persistence on the other enemy team. It's still going to be a tight match because Seaferry adds that stun, so without that stun, it's giving the enemy team a little bit more chance to fight us back. Now we are still going to take this. We did get those shields, so it wasn't necessarily a flop, but let's see the differences. So Frost Queen and Dark Cacao were the 2 that stood above in that challenge. Palo said, is your Eclair using full attack? So that is a great question. The toppings right now, Eclair is using a full searing. Strawberry Crepe is using Swift Chocolate for that ability to activate as much as possible. Dark Cacao I have doing critical damage, so that way I have the highest chances of hitting critical strikes and dealing a lot of damage with him. Frost Queen is running a full chocolate, and Cotton, of course, the guild battle meta, is running full chocolate. Derpy Carrot, Seaferry is pretty good, yes. If I put Seaferry back in, her toppings is full searing. I do want to experiment with her running critical builds, but not yet. I gotta get a few more toppings leveled up before I can really start to fully test her. Plus, at a 5-star, it'll be a lot different in comparison to the 3-star to really test the true power of her skills. So that's the first comp we're going to go through. Next one we're going to go through is speed comp. So the speed comp, we're also actually running critical jellies on Madeline, just for extra damage output as well. I'll go through a couple different speed comps, but this is the personal one I've been using, and just to show you what it does. And then we've got full Swift Chocolate on Mint. He's doing really good healing, really good speed buffs, and overall, just I love Mint, and he's like really coming back into the fold for my teams. Right now, I have Solid Almond on Pure Vanilla, but I do want to change this to a Swift Chocolate in the near future when I can get more. As you can see, I've started to build it out, but I need at least 3 more really good ones. Have you sunk any money into this game, or do you just play a lot? Good question, Derpy. I've played a full year of this game, a little bit extra actually, now that it's been longer than a year. Played every single day. I will say I have sunk money. I think I've done about $25 a month. So the Kingdom Pass plus like 1 or 2 good packages just to kind of boost me along. Nothing substantial though. There's still plenty of cookies that I have that need to be maxed out, plenty of toppings that I still need to unlock, and I still only have maybe half of the research lab done. So I have not put nearly enough in to max everything out, but I have invested. So yes, that is correct. There is money invested into it, but I have also played every day for an entire year. That full crit cacao, you're using full damage resist. So damage resist, chocolate, searing, and critical, I think all of them work on cacao. I think it really depends on how you're playing them out. The reason I like to run the critical is that I don't mind if he gets the feather, because then I get an immediate debuff on the enemy team again if he's the first to faint, which is great. Who introduced me to Cookie Run Kingdom? I found it randomly when I was going through my games that I wanted to look at on the Play Store when I had an Android, and it just looked like a fun game. And because Dev Sisters was so generous with the gems in the beginning, it just really got me thinking, like, wow, I wonder if they're going to keep being generous in the higher levels. And I've never really been disappointed with what they do. Dev Sisters have been a great company, and they've done at least enough for me to keep interested every single day. And so I'm very thankful for what they've done. Great question, Epic Nerd. So let's go ahead and run this speed comp and show what it can do against an old meta team, and then we'll take it against someone else to see if we can find a different team that it can fight. So as you can see, I'm running the robes here instead of the feather. Not really concerned about whether a cookie faints here or not, because the output of speed from mint and the debuff resistance from parfait is just pushing my cookies along. They're just barely keeping alive. It's not impressively alive, but just barely. And so against old meta team, they didn't stand up. If we did do the feather instead of maybe the clock, maybe, but that clock for those ability cooldowns, it's important. And as you can see, full critical on Madeline, almost 4 million damage. I mean, just absolutely lighting up the field with power. And those are not even optimized critical toppings. I need to get even better ones on Madeline. So Madeline is a insane force to be reckoned with if you can build Madeline right. And I think I can run different on her as well. Let me see. Sorry, him. I get their genders mixed up so often. We'll just say Madeline. Let's run different toppings on Madeline. We'll go ahead and put searing instead, and we'll see if the results are about the same. Which in technicalities they should be, but I think because of the new monuments and everything, I'm running a lot more damage on critical than traditional searing is. Imajo plays, thank you for coming. Welcome, nice to have you here. We're gonna, yes, hi kitties, how you doing? Cats are coming in to the room as well. So as you can see, Madeline's still pushing through, doing good. Already down again. And we'll see what the damage output is here. So here, 2.8 million. So a full million points of difference. 1 full million. And that could be due to criticals. That 100% could be, you know, because critical jellies are going to have more chance of critical damage. But you can still land criticals on regular searing. So let's look at the stats. A 52.8% attack. That's almost maximum. You can go up to 69%. That's the highest amount you can get. And a 15% critical would be the highest substat critical you could get on searing. Whereas with the critical, the highest critical you can get is 69% there with a 15% attack. So the critical jellies were a little bit lower on both stats than we are on the searing. And yet we still outperformed it by 1 million damage. And the attack speed on the critical does help with that too. That does play a part. But still, that's at least impressive in my mind. Epic Nerd asked, just curious, if I was to use Sharky, what topping would suit him? So Sorbet, I want to say is going to be a critical apple jelly build. But the traditional use is searing toppings. It's really coming down to we got to test if certain skills are working with critical hits. For instance, Affogato does not work with critical toppings at all. The poison has no chance to do critical damage. I've tested it, and I just cannot get a critical hit with poison. So therefore, apple jellies are off the table for Affogato, which I believe in turn would be the same for poison mushroom and alchemist cookie, because they all use poison. I do still have to test if that's the same for other specific cookies, which I do believe it is for any area of damage cookie. And so, to kind of explain that further, when I first was testing it in the video that I did for a latte cookie, I kept thinking, the skill didn't hit a crit. Maybe they had crit resistance, or maybe I just missed the chance somehow. But I believe certain area of damage skills do not hit critical hits, or are not capable to hit them. Which is interesting, because that means that apple jellies, if that is the case, will probably fit better on either a cookie that specifically says it needs critical to activate, like cream puff, or single target hitting cookies. And that is an interesting thought, because that means that AoE damaging cookies would be better suited with searing toppings in that instance, if that is the truth, because then their attack power will be high, and it doesn't matter if you're hitting critical or not, you're just attacking for a strong amount. So it's good to think about that, and something I'm going to run more tests with when I can get more apple jelly toppings is whether AoE skills are even doing critical damage, and I think Sorbet Sharky is going to run under that category, because it is an area of damage skill, and it does already bypass damage by doing, or defense, by doing true damage. So something that definitely has to be looked at further. But great question, really great question. So that's the speed comp I've been running, and we're going to go ahead and clear this team and run some of the other comps that are on the internet right now. So the first one we're going to pick out is the Stun Almond Scam team. So we're going to pick Ginger Brave. We're going to get Tiger. We're going to get Almond. We're going to grab Eclair. And we're going to get Sea Fairy. That's not Sea Fairy. We're going to grab Sea Fairy. And then we're going to use a scroll. We're going to use the Bear Jelly Lollipop, and the reason is because it will target the ally with the highest attack, increasing it by even further with high crit chances. And then last but not least, the Scythe to just increase the critical chance even further. Just curious if I was... Yep, that's the scammer team. It's one of the scammer teams, yes. So as you can see, almost 700,000 power. The reason is the toppings behind this is searing, chocolate, and nothing on Ginger Brave. I don't have enough toppings to put anything on Ginger Brave, but honestly, let's just see how it runs even without it. We'll see if the treasures can carry them. So we'll do it against this team again, the old meta team. And it just absolutely blows them away. So the reason for that, Almond skill links against the cookies, and Sea Fairy and Eclair. Well, Eclair puts on the weakness. Sea Fairy just lights up a huge amount of damage, and you can probably see it here in the stats. Yeah, huge amount of damage. Eclair was actually the highest damage dealer there, but between the two of them, they're the ones causing the damage that spreads out evenly between everybody because of Almond skill link, which is pretty insane. So that's a cool scam team that you can either use as a defensive team, or if you want to use it to attack people with a different defensive team, because that's the best way to get up to Master 5 is just rotate out counter teams so that you can have different options to switch viable for. So we're going to clear that one out. That was an interesting team. We're going to do the normal scammer team. So we will grab Sea Fairy again, Eclair again. This time we need Cotton. We do need Tiger Lily, and we need Ginger Brave again. And Ginger Brave has the fastest skill cooldown in the entire game. So that's why he is an essential in the scammer team, not to mention his pushing in knockback ability that he does. So we're going to do the Bear Lollipop, and we're going to do the Scythe. And you can see this team has more power, 715,000. And we'll see what this is able to push through. So it hits in, does pretty good. As you can see, Almond with the skill locking and the damage dispersion between everyone doesn't happen. So, you know, it seems like it's almost working, but it's really close. Like, we're down to the wire right there. So that was a tough one. Is Kumio Scam team a good defense team? Well, if you have a good counter to the opposite of the Kumio team, then yes, you could run that as a defense team. I would have to find the Kumio team to see it. So Kumio Scam team. Let's see what we find. So the current Kumio Scam team would be, instead of Eclair, and the reason Kumio is one of the options is because Kumio has that charm, which is similar to the stun that Sea Fairy does. Similar. We will have to change the critical here, though, to attack robes so that we can attack as fast as possible. And we need to put back Almond in place of Cotton. Alright, so there we go. That's the Kumio Scam team. Show you how it does. This is against the double defense team. And Almond's really the big key here because of that skill dispersion. But we're just not able to push through at all. If we change that from attack robes, though, to Scythe. So we go from attack robes down to Scythe. And we try that. Then we should deal a lot more instant damage, and we do take out the cookies there, and now it's just Hollyberry. So attack speed is important because it's attack animation, it's the speed of your normal attacks, makes a difference in a lot of things. The critical there makes it so that we have a much bigger chance to hit stronger hits very quickly. So you can see Sea Fairy did almost 1.6 million there, but that was required in the critical hit there, so that does make a difference. Alright, so now we're gonna go ahead and try the old meta team. So that would be, instead of the double tank with Frost Queen, we're gonna do double tank and Sea Fairy instead. So we will do all of these, and we need Strawberry Crepe. And then the treasures here, they're going to be very specific. So they're going to be Scroll for power, Monocle for debuff taking off, being able to clear those off, and then the Clock for the abilities. Is Tiger Lily essential? Can you switch with Eclair? We can definitely test that for the Kumio Scam. Tiger Lily is important because she has a very fast skill too, and she stuns the frontmost enemy. So that's important for what is going on there, but we can still test it. Has anyone figured out what the new meta is? I'll show you what the new meta is. I'm going to save that one for last. just because that one's a pretty tough one, and I don't really have the toppings to properly do it, but I'll still show you what it is. So it takes 15 seconds for that monocle to go off, so it's going to take off 2 stacks of weakness for us, which is a big deal, because it's basically removing 50% attack from the enemy, essentially. And so, our Sea Fairy versus their Frost Queen, our skills are being slowed down, so their Frost Queen is basically a counter to our Jelly Clock. We're still doing good, but down to the wire, it's going to be tough. I think we'll still take it, because they had a feather to revive, so they technically had an extra body, but that monocle took away our debuffs, and that's a huge deal. And so that monocle was kind of essential in that, for us to beat out the Frost Queen, which was their highest damage dealer. Ours was actually Hollyberry, mostly just because she was alive the longest, but another reason is because she is the frontliner, she's attacking, and nobody else is taking the damage from her too much, so she's really the one shining here. So you wouldn't necessarily expect it, but she does a really good job when it comes to that. So that's that one. We're gonna go to the, what is it? The new Cacao front team, and that's the one I showed you to start. That would be this one. That's the new front Dark Cacao team. The Kumio scam, you were asking if Tiger Lily was needed. There is a non-Tiger Lily team that you could do. You could just do Almond, and then Kumio, Eclair, Frost Queen, and Gingerbrave. And you can switch out Almond for Sea Fairy if you want. And then this is going to require the attack robes and the scroll and the lollipop. My crepe is combined total. I am so sorry. You'll get there over time. Don't worry, though. So as you can see, we ran this team instead of Tiger Lily. The lack of quick stun from Tiger Lily made it so that we were not able to push through. So against this team, against the double tank meta team, I would say that Tiger Lily is an essential, so that you can stun down and lock down as many targets as possible. But in this case, that was a requirement for that team. Other teams, it might be different. Maple, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. So now let's go ahead and go to the basic Summoner team. Now, this team is still powerful. The Summoner team is actually still beating out this team. So I have this team that I'm using in Arena, and I came across a Summoner team today, about the relative same power and treasures and everything, and I completely lost. So the Summoner team is still very powerful. So to have that team, you need Eclair, Pumpkin Pie, Cotton, Parfait, and Snow Sugar. And the reason is Snow Sugar, Cotton, and Pumpkin Pie, they are the extra body summoners, so they put more bodies on the field. Eclair, obviously, for the shields and the weakness debuff. And then debuff resistance and healing comes from Parfait. You got healing from Cotton, and you've got healing decrease on the enemy's team from Pumpkin Pie. So you've got quite a good synergy going on there. And so the scroll, it's going to be our first item. We need the seamstress pin to make our extra bodies more powerful. And then you need the jelly clock to be able to run this. So this against the old double tank team. Let's see how we do. Should do pretty good, but let's see how we do just to be sure. So Pumpkin Pie, as always, sending out the team first. My Snow Sugar is not very developed, so this team probably could have worked, but I just don't have Snow Sugar very developed. And that's kind of a key point because of the freeze that Snow Sugar gives and the slowdown and the small amount of protection that it gives to the team. So if I had a more developed summoner team, it might be able to work, but in this instance, it just wasn't able to outdo the other side. And you know what? I think I can switch in Licorice for Snow Sugar, because Licorice is another one that summons bodies. So let's do that. Let's see if that makes any difference for me. So let's edit, and we'll take Licorice. Where do I have you? There you are. So we'll put Licorice in here, and we'll see what the differences are there. And this will add even more bodies to the field. And as you can see, Licorice, just being that midline, just gets eaten alive before the skill even goes to fire off. So it is a great team, don't get me wrong. It is a really, really good team. I believe I'm going to spell your name correct, D-E-D. Hello, thanks for joining. But the Summoner team is a good team. It just needs very specific investments for you to be able to run it. And it just might not actually work against the double tank team. But Pumpkin Pie was the one able to light up the stage there as far as damage. So, let's move to one of the next comps. And so this is what's... this is considered the new meta team. So, take it with a grain of salt. It's a very specific setup. I don't have the specific setup. And Mango Child, thanks for joining. I appreciate it a bunch, and especially the sub. That really, really helps. This is the current meta in the higher levels. Yet again, takes some pretty high setup, so I might not even be able to run it effectively. But it is using T-Knight. And so the way this one works, of course, the insignia, the scroll, and the feather. So no jelly clock on this. Reason is because you don't want the skills to fire off for you to kill their enemies as quickly as possible. You actually want your cookies to die, but not necessarily right away. If they die right away, then you might not actually get any buffs to go off. I've seen some people do the T-Knight with the lower cookies, with some like rares and epics mixed together, and it can work, but you really need T-Knight built up. I'm still trying to level him. I'm actually going to put him to Solid Almond here because I want him to survive as long as possible. That's the whole goal. We're going to keep everyone else the same, and we're gonna give it a try. As you can see, it's almost 1,000,000 power just for that. Derpy Knight, what's the best comp been so far? Personally, this one. This one has been consistent for me, but I do have a level 12 scroll. So if you're fighting higher level people with like higher level treasures, honestly, at the higher level treasures, you're gonna want to run a scam team if you're gonna try and beat them. Otherwise, you're gonna want to run teams like this, or maybe the new meta like this, if they're on the same par level. But it really depends on how well your cookies and how well your toppings are developed. You've seen T-Knight attack much faster than it normally does. Can you explain what happened? So T-Knight, before we go into it, T-Knight, the skill, here's what he buffs. So there are several kinds of available buffs. Each is applied to the cookie, meeting the required conditions. So the Wrath of the Commander cannot be dispelled, stacks up to 4 times. This depends on how many cookies die. The attack is raised. The crit is raised, and the attack speed is raised. So as you can see on the 4th stack, he gets 150% attack speed boost if you get all 4 stacks on there. That's why he attacks so well. Now, in other matches, if people use Pancake, if people use Mint, if people use anything else, if those stack in addition before they die, it won't last long, but you can get his attack speed nearly up to 250% if you've got attack robes on. It's a tough build to line up, but I have seen it, and it would be it's interesting to see. Someone asked, is Mango Cookie good for World Expression? Mango Cookie is pretty awesome, actually. Mango Cookie does an attack buff on the entire team. It's, I believe, 10%. And I want to do Mango Cookie featured in a buff team, which I'm actually going to cover here after this meta team. But Mango Cookie is pretty cool. I still love Mango Cookie. So let's see how this new meta team fares out against the old double tank meta team. As you can see, we don't have any healing going on. We've already used our feather the first time. T-Knight is still surviving. Seafary's down. We've got 2 stacks on the buff of the commander for T-Knight. He's still surviving, thankfully, at the moment. And yeah, we've pushed through completely. So that one actually even pushed through better than the other meta team that I showed you the first time. And so it is a potential for really good damage. T9 did not get all 4 stacks, so therefore he was not able to take the crown on the damage there. But as a 5-star level 60, fully kitted out, and maybe weakening some of the other people, he might have had the chance to shine in that one. But regardless, that's why the comp itself, it just does good. To someone's question, Derpy Carrot, yes, this is pure vanilla server. I started in February of last year. Hollyberry server wasn't in existence, and I didn't really see a reason to move over to the Hollyberry server after being 7 months into progress. Just didn't make any sense. So, Mango is an adorable cookie. I will 100% agree on that. So now let's cover some comps that you can put together that are not the meta, but they are, at least in my opinion, interesting. So something I learned today is that if someone has an HP shield on them, whether it's from Pure Vanilla, whether it's from Eclair, whether it's from Custard, or whether it's from a boss level stage like an Alliance, Affogato, when the poison bubble is put on them, it replaces the HP shield completely. So that is a way to bypass HP shields without Twizzly or Dark Cacao. That's something interesting I found out today, and I was like, oh, that's new information. That's cool. So we're going to do Affogato here because we're going to try to apply as many debuffs as possible to the enemy team and see how it does. Probably won't do great against this team. We'll probably have to go to some other teams, which is fine. Someone asked, is Dark Cacao meta or is he bad? He is 100% meta. He is on level with Hollyberry and definitely goes even good side by side with Hollyberry. If you got him, I would definitely recommend giving some attention to him. He is not guild battle meta. He does not replace Dark Chocolate, but he is definitely PvP meta, and he's really good in the environmental stages too. I actually did a video covering a team with him in it that beat the new episode 13 and episode 13 dark mode. So yeah, I definitely love Dark Cacao. So we're going to apply debuffs here. So all debuffs that we're going to give, first ones we're going to give are going to be, let's see. I know Devil Cookie gives a negative attack, or sorry, movement speed. So we're going to actually put Devil Cookie in this. I know it's weird, but that's okay. We're trying, everybody. We're going to go ahead and do the, I think we're going to go ahead and do Pumpkin because of the healing debuff. We're going to do Eclair for the weakness debuff. And we're going to do Dark Cacao for the overall debuffs that he has. You got Affogato on your first gacha pull. That's awesome. 4-star. I would say invest in Affogato if you're interested in guild battle. Affogato is proving to be very strong in guild battle. Very, very strong. Belfie, hello. Thanks for joining. Let me see. Your cat is sitting on your face. Well, I have 8 cats in the house, and thankfully only one has interrupted so far. You got Dark Cacao on your second resolution pull. That's awesome. That is awesome. Hopefully some new legendaries are coming soon. I'm really rooting for Moonlight, because Moonlight directly goes with Seafaring, at least in lore. But we'll see, I guess. Maybe the Wind Arrow or the Tree Folk will be the next legendary. I don't really know yet. I have to research into the lore to see if I can find more things out and understand more of what could be coming. Pumpkin Pie is meta, at least in a couple of teams. Definitely in the Summoner team, and you can put Pumpkin Pie in some other good teams and make her work. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a scroll here. We don't really have healing, so what we need is we need the monocle, because we need to remove our own debuffs that are imposed upon our team, and we need to try and heal to keep everyone alive. And we're going to run the clock for faster abilities. If this doesn't work, we'll try and switch out the monocle for the horn, just for extra defense. But let's go ahead and give this a shot and see what we get. And we should be placing quite a lot of debuffs on the enemy team. And you should see their debuff thing just light up. I don't have Devil Cookie very high, so I'm not surprised he went down. So yeah, this team just did not work against the old meta double tank team. I'll try a different team against a different person to see how well this can potentially do. Not against same level threats, but maybe lower level threats. So we will try my guildmate. Where are they? I think they must be higher up. Yep, Coco Curry. Coco Curry is our awesome designer. As you can see, same team, lower level treasures. So we'll see if that does make a difference. Elvin Miranda, hello, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. So as you can see, little bit more chance to survive. Devil still just bites the dust. A level 33 Devil Cookie just is not enough. And I think what we're going to do, I think we're going to change that monocle to the horn for extra defense. Yes, hi kitty. We're going to change it to extra defense so that we have a chance to let Devil Cookie live, because that movement speed reduction can be interesting, especially if cookies get knocked back. Use a Claire, Pumpkin, Dark Choco, Dark Cacao, and Affogato. Yeah, we can do that for the defense reduction. So funny story, if you don't have dark chocolate, you can use Princess Cookie. It's not 20%, but it's 15%, similar to dark cacao. So if you're lacking on dark chocolate, but you have a fully leveled up Princess will sub in just slightly subpar, to what dark chocolate does. But let's change this at least to be horn, and then we'll do the suggestion of running dark chocolate and see how that runs instead. But Devil Cookie's negative attack movement speed, that's an interesting debuff to apply. No, Devil still just doesn't make it, so he's just not high enough level. A video featuring my cats? Oh man, I don't know if I could get them all into one location for that. I could do a slideshow, but them all in one spot at once, that'd be tough. That'd be pretty tough. As you can see, the horn's doing a really good job, though. Even though it's a common treasure, that increased defense percentage really helps keep the team alive a little bit longer. So as you can see, so we're gonna switch out Devil Cookie. Just haven't leveled him enough. Don't have any toppings on him. So in the future, could be a potential option. For right now, not so much. But we will put dark chocolate there. Father-son team. Let's see how it handles. Let's apply as many debuffs as possible. As we can, that is. Hopefully we see a lot of red on their side. Oh yeah, just at least 6, maybe 7. It's small little things to read, but yeah, it's a close fight. But you got to remember, this person has lower level treasures than I do, which means that I technically have the starting advantage. So for me to lose to this team means that this comp's not gonna really keep it up right now because there's just no healing element. If you don't have a healing element, you've got to have a really powerful hitting team. So that comp just didn't pull it. So instead, we're going to do the reverse now. We're going to try and give ourselves as much buffs on our team as possible. So for that, we're going to run let's see. We're going to run cotton, parfait, mint, and where are the others? Mango. So you get to see mango in this one. And then we're also going to run, I think, either sparkling or probably cocoa. I think cocoa because we get the stun immunity, which is technically a buff. Yeah, no, it is a buff. I think we'll run the cocoa for stun immunity. We will run feather this time. And we will run the jelly clock. And so this team, lower power for sure. And then we'll see how many buffs we can put on our team and how well it does. And we'll fight a higher level team if it does too good against the lower level team. See what we pull out. So here we go. And we've got a lot of healers right here. We've got parfait, cotton, and mint, and cocoa. All four of them do healing of some sorts. And as you can see, our health bars are just plowing back upward because of all the healers. And we're just moving the bar continuously. Now, we're not really chipping into their team very easily, so that's something to consider. And so, it's tough, but this one just doesn't work out either because there's not really a full synergy here. What's only happening is that we're focusing on one thing. So, their team has defense focus. Their team has attack increase focus. Their team thinks about our skill abilities and protection against incoming attacks. That's 4 different fields. We're mostly focused on buffs and heals. That's it. So we have half as many focuses as their team does. So that's it's hard to tell. But now, here's an old comp that I used to run that I love a lot. And this is a full-on healing team with pumpkin pie. And this one's pretty interesting. Let me find the correct cookies. So this one utilizes the horn and the clock. And there might be some fine-tuning to this, but the stun resistance from Cocoa, the shields from Pure Vanilla, the debuff resistance for Parfait, the attack buff from Cotton, and the healing down from the pumpkin pie on the other side. That's all synergistic together. And then the defensive horn should keep us alive pretty well. And so this team should actually do pretty good against the opposing team. But let's see to be sure. So as you can see, our health bars go down and then they go right back up. And then they go down and right back up. And then they go down and then they go right back up. And so this is more, I guess you could call a stall team. But over time, if it does it correctly, which it's not right now, it can chip out the other opposing team. And so I will make one adjustment here because obviously the meta's changed and the cookies have changed. I'm going to instead run, instead of cocoa that is, I'm going to try both Eclair and then mint cookie. Eclair just for the shields, Mint Cookie for the attack speed and the additional healing, which Mint Cookie does some really good healing. So let's try this team instead. See what we get. Because they technically didn't have any stuns on their team, so Coco wasn't really being a huge asset for that reason. But the weakness debuff on their side means that we'll start to chip into them, while still providing amazing heals from our side of the team. Now we still take a lot of damage though. A lot of damage. And Eclair did end up fainting anyway. But the speed of which they just bring back and heal is amazing. And we are still slowly chipping at their team. We're still not able to make it. But, I mean, we got close. Like, it was a close battle. And in fairness, this is a lower treasured team. So, against same level opponents, it's probably going to be tough. But I will run it with Mint Cookie now, which should give us attack speed and healing. And for that reason, we might actually pull out some really good results because Mint does some really fast healing, and the attack speed will make all the other healers heal faster too. So let's see what the results are on this one. Nearly instant health regeneration on our entire team. Frost Queen Cookie, they are very good. Asfer, you are correct. Frost Queen is extremely good. I'm just showing some other comps right now to show what potential teams you can build and where they can and where they can't work as well. And as you can see, Mint actually outlasted almost everyone else except Pure Vanilla. And that's mostly just because of the shields. So we didn't chip into their health as much that time because Eclair provides more damage assistance. But as you can see, the healing was insane. So Mint and Pure Vanilla were actually the strongest healers there. And so for that reason, that's why I think they're probably like the two best healers. So let's actually change this completely out. Now we're going to try and build a team based on synergy alone. So instead of doing summoner, healing, speed, any of those comps, we're going to just take out everyone that was doing subpar on the healing side. We're going to leave these two healers in. We already know that Madeline does insane critical damage when it is a critical focus, so we will do attack robes for this. Since we are doing a speedy run and we want to deal as much damage as possible, as quick as possible, we need Frost Queen and Dark Cacao. So running this team, we should have the shields, we should have the speed buff, we should have critical damage piling on, and we should have the ability stopping from Frost Queen. So let's see how this team runs. This one should actually do pretty well. Should be able to. But we'll check. Now the question is, will Frost Queen, Madeline, or Dark Cacao be the highest damage dealer once we look at the stats? See, their team's hanging on. Definitely giving a good fight. But the synergy from this team is just pushing through. And eventually it just takes over. Now I will go fight a higher level opponent just to compare stats. But Madeline took the cake with the damage. And remember, Madeline's running critical jellies. So searing, it would be less. With the critical, Madeline's just pumping out the damage. Latix Manix, or Man6. Hello, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. So yeah, Madeline did insane damage here in comparison to Frost Queen and Dark Cow. And Madeline's an epic, not a legendary, not an ancient. So I think Madeline is a very underrated cookie that can deal quite a lot of damage if built correctly and into the correct teams. So don't sleep on Madeline if you haven't invested into Madeline. I think there's still a lot to be explored with that cookie. I will go back to the stronger team as I was promising and test that exact same team against their capabilities, and we'll see what we get. And so our Frost Queen's already gone. They just hit super hard, super well. And we do not have the feather to bring her back. And then they've got the advantage taking out our other guys. And at this point, now we're not pushing through. And I bet you that Madeline is still the one that did the highest damage because of the ability to be immune for a few seconds. And I was correct. Madeline still pulled out the most damage. And so for that, instead of attack robes, it would probably be better to run the feather instead. That way we can get Frost Queen's ignition off on them. What server is it? The one with Cookie Run Kingdom? It's Pure Vanilla server. And that's the one that I'm on. So instead of attack robes, you know what? Actually, instead of Jelly Watch, we'll put attack robes still in, and we will run the feather as well. Yes, hi, another cat has joined, surprisingly. All right, so this time Frost Queen's probably gonna get hit hard. Maybe they just got a lucky critical last time, but we don't have the clock on, not at all, and we're still doing pretty good. Our feather's been used. Attack speed's still pushing through. Those stuns are really doing a number on us, though, from their side. And they eventually did end up taking it. So, let's see what we have here. Madeline's still pumping out massive damage. Absolutely massive damage. I can't stress it enough. Madeline and critical toppings seem to be an amazing combo. But let's make one more change. This time we're actually going to do the branch. The reason for the branch, it's usually used against scam comps because the branch will line up with the exact time that the scam comp can hit. And the branch gives you a shield that absorbs a certain amount of the damage. I believe at the level I have it, it absorbs 28.6% of the max HP. So if your max HP is 200,000, you will absorb about, I think, 50,000 damage. Yes, 50,000 damage absorbed for doing that. So if we do it this way, we'll see if we're actually able to beat them. No clock, no feather, just block that first super big hit. And then it's 60 seconds before we get to do it again. So at this point, we just have to rely on the team to push through. We do have the lead. It's close, though. Let's see if we can take it. We've lost our Frost Queen. And we've lost everyone else. So it still wasn't good enough. But once again, without fail, Madeline takes it as far as damage output. So now, let's focus on something even more fun. So we know Dark Cacao and Madeline can do really good with damage output, just the way I have them built. Let's specifically build them and attack speed buffers only. So, well, let's rephrase that. No, actually we do have enough. We can do attack speed buffers only. So we're going to do the scroll for attack power, the robes for attack speed, and we're going to run Scythe instead, because we want to just light up the most amount of damage we can as quickly as possible and see what we can pull off. It might be tough against this level team, but we'll try against a couple others just in case. So we're going for full attack speed. Nothing more, just absolutely as fast as possible. And you can see their health bar just pushing down. But the stuns and the freeze and everything else, it just takes our team out. Unable to keep up with it, and we don't have a chance. So instead of the Scythe, what we can do is we can run the clock and see if we get another ability activation and see if we can go even faster, which is unlikely, but let's see if we're lucky enough to live that long enough. So we get first activation off, Pancake's gone because of level and toppings and everything. The clock does not give us the chance to get the next activation off on the attack speed cookies, so it just doesn't work. And if anything, we actually did less damage because of the scythe being off of there. So that did not really work out for us at all. But it's an interesting setup. Now instead, what we can do, in a technicality, we can give more attack speed by slowing the opponent down. And we can also give more attack speed by technically giving more attack power. And with the attack power, we can use Moon Rabbit, because Moon Rabbit will do healing and also single damage and self-healing based on how fast an enemy is taken out. So let's see what the differences are here. So it's mostly speed focused. We still lost Frost Queen because we have no way to bring her back. But the team is pushing through quickly, very quickly. It's just not enough though. Moon Rabbit was actually able to survive the longest, mostly because of the self-healing. And I can show you there. Damage was pretty good between the three of them. Frost Queen not so much because she just wasn't able to live. Healing done. Mid still takes it over Moon Rabbit. Moon Rabbit would have had higher healing if we had been able to actually take out some of their opponents. But we just didn't have the chance. And so then the last team I'm going to show you guys, just before I end this, is that we'll do one of the T-Knight teams with just buffers only. So we'll get T-Knight, and then we will grab the attack speed buffers so that T-Knight has the chance to get as high attack speed as possible. And then also we will do an attack buff as well. And we need the insignia, and we'll go with attack robes. So we're going full speed demon here, and see if it will pull anything off. It might not. T-Knight might die first, but we'll give it a shot. See what we get. Because technically the ones in the back should be the ones to die first. So as you can see, different attack speeds. Oh, nope. Mint outlasted T-Knight. So we're just hoping on Mint here with the insignia. That's funny. So yeah, that doesn't work. But you guys saw earlier the T-Knight team that did end up working. I just want to run this quick stream to show you guys some fun team comps that you can do. There's a lot of different meta ones right now, a lot of fun ones that can work. But you just make sure that if you're running different comps in the arena, that you have different teams that you can counter against, unless your team is hard to beat, and then you don't have to worry about revenge battles. Like if people are having issues doing revenge against you, then it's okay to do it. But as you can see, the team I have, a lot of kumio scams and sorbet scams and just scam teams are coming through. And then the people that are beating me, they have higher level treasures like the monocle here. That's what did it for them. So either way, it's up to you what you think is going to be best for you, but run what makes sense. My favorite comp still right now is this one, at least for the arena. Epic Nerd said, I'm thinking of buying soul stones from a package. Should I unlock PV with the 4 or get Sea Fairy to 16 soul stones and wait for the next package? Pure Vanilla is amazing and great for healing. Dark Cacao does counter Pure Vanilla. So does Twizzly, and so does Affogato now. So that's 3 cookies that can technically counter Pure Vanilla, and there are other ways to handle Pure Vanilla as well. Sea Fairy and the stuns, if it's fast enough, Sea Fairy fits into a lot of good teams. So I would personally recommend Sea Fairy over Pure Vanilla if you're gonna try and build out various different teams. If you want specific meta teams, as some of the ones you saw today, Pure Vanilla is going to be a great build, but the higher the stars and the higher the power you can get from the toppings on Pure Vanilla, the better. If it's too low, Pure Vanilla is going to suffer a lot. So keep that in mind. But either way, I just wanted to show you guys some fun teams that could be put together and kind of enlighten you on all of the capabilities you can be building if you want. I'll show you really quick the bonds that I have, and as you can see, all of them because of just having 5-star almost every cookie. And the research lab, I just got that up, but I've got almost every specified cookie tier at level 5, because that's really the highest jump. I have to work more on range cookies, but everything else has pretty good upgrades overall. So, hope you guys enjoyed this stream. I'll try and put something together for next Friday as well, about the same time. I'm just trying to do more data, more research, try and figure out more possibilities, more comps that you can be putting together. And I plan, I think starting Sunday, I'm going to do my first Nuzlocke challenge. And so if you guys don't know what a Nuzlocke is, it's a thing from Pokemon where you can only pick a specified rule set to run for the entire team, and you have to follow that rule set. So I'm going to pick one epic cookie and one treasure and see how far that cookie can go. If it's a healing cookie, then I may pick one more cookie, but I have to sacrifice a treasure. And I believe if I do any like lower level cookies, I will balance it out to where it's like, you know, up to level 60 between 2 cookies, or up to 5 stars between 2 cookies. So I will have specific details in there, and I'll put that in the descriptions, so that way people can understand the rules of each part. But I'll break it into a series, so that way you can see each cookie and how far they can go and what their overall value is in the entire game by doing that Nuzlocke challenge. So we'll see what we can pull together, but I think I'll start that Sunday, and so look for that if that's something that interests you. And if you want, after this video is published and it's able to be commented on, go ahead and comment and leave a vote of who you want in the Nuzlocke challenge first, as I'd be willing to take anybody. So thank you so much for stopping by. Solaros, sorry that it's ending just as you got in. I apologize. But thank you again for everyone that did stop by, and look forward to next Friday's stream, as well as the other videos that I plan to post. Alright, thank you again. Have a great night, everybody.